All right, and we are back with some more amazing runs. My name is Mirnay. I'm going to be your host for the next few hours, so get comfy. And yeah, so the next run that we have is Inside, ran by Sable Dragon Rook. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited to see it. So I'm going to pass it on to her, and we'll get this started. So Sable, the platform's all yours. The platform's all yours.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And this is going to be Inside All Deaths. I won't hold us up, so timing will start here when I just hit any button to make this title screen for Playdead's Inside go away. I will give you a countdown. And that's going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Hello, hello. So, a couple things right from the beginning, right? Up at the top left hand corner, you are going to see Morty. He is my lizard, my blue tongue skink, to be precise. He is always my stream cam, so I don't actually ever have a cam of myself. So I figured it would be good if he joined us today. Hopefully, he will be up there for some good luck. He'll be wandering around doing his own thing. In the meantime, this is Playdead's Inside, same people who made Limbo, I do believe. I'm gonna look real stupid if that's not the case. Pretty sure. So, the goal here is, when the developers made this game, they programmed in a ton of different animations for this boy when he dies. So we are gonna try to trigger every single one of the unique animations that are in the game. First one here is gonna be caught by a guard, and we will just get that right away. This time, let's not do that because, we only need each death animation once. Any more than that, and it's, just kind of a waste of time. So it doesn't matter, if we enter a new area or anything like that. We just need each animation once. So we're not going to be dying, every time we have the opportunity or anything like that. In the meantime, I am going to be doing this little bunny hop. It is not quite the same as just landing on the ground and hopping again. There is kind of a little cadence to it. It's, something super tiny, like 1.2 or something times faster than just walking like normal. But over the course of the run, it can save a minute or two. So next up, I need to get this guy's attention with the flashlight. There he is. And this is going to be caught by a dog, who is currently coming to give me a munch. The next one is definitely a lot more challenging because I actually need to turn around in the water to make the pacing exactly right. Thankfully it worked. This is pushed by a dog. The boy walks faster, like, for the first second or so that he walks forward, and then he slows down again. So that's why I'm going backwards a little bit before going forward. He walks just a little faster in the water if we do that. I'm gonna try to keep it down in some bits. This game has a really nice, ambiance and, sound design. And so I'd like for you to be able to hear that and appreciate it because they did really a great job making this, super spooky. But yeah, just hopping like this and hopping again as soon as I hit the ground is much slower than what I'm currently doing. I'm gonna turn around, get shot real quick. The good news is, with a lot of these deaths, not necessarily all of them, there are a couple, but for the most part, we're gonna have multiple opportunities to get these, so the strategy really is in choosing where to get them such that you're, really close to a checkpoint. But every now and then, if for some reason you miss one, you can definitely get it later. Like I said, with a couple exceptions. And those couple exceptions are typically pretty hard, because if they only happen once, it's usually, you know, something kind of convoluted and complicated. And whenever the boy stumbles like that, that's going to initiate his run, which is the fastest form of movement he has, which is why I'm not hopping during this particular section. I don't know if this guy behind me chose to go. He just, I guess, he got tired. He stopped for a little bit. Like, you can choose to take getting shot there, but for some reason they have, you know, stormtrooper aim, and it takes a long time for them to actually hit you. I could take drowning here, but the checkpoint is kind of a fair distance back. I'll wait for later. The other good thing, right, is that sometimes if you know, mess up or otherwise just like don't get a death when you're trying to get a death, you might get a different one, right? You know, if you're trying to land on something and you miss, you might accidentally get fall from a great height, and then that kind of prevents you from having to do that later. It's a very versatile run. As far as actually keeping track, though, that's just entirely memorization, or, you know, splits if you have splits. There's nothing in the game that keeps track of all the different ways you can die. Yeah, this kid is really not having a good day, is he? But you know what makes it better? Little chicken friends. I've got some little chicken friends now. They're following me around, little baby chicks. And they're gonna hang out with me, at least for a little while. Don't mind the creepy pile of pigs in the background. That's probably not important. Okay, so my poor little chicken friends have been trapped outside. I gotta help them get in here. Come on, guys. I'm gonna start up this generator. Don't worry about it. My chickens will be fine. They'll be fine. Alright, I'm gonna suck those chickens right into that thing. See, they're okay. They're okay. Except for that one. Don't worry about it. So my chicken friends have helped me to progress. They smacked themselves into a hay bale. And here we are. Getting a little bit deeper into Pig City here. This is just a whole cart of pigs with, like, worms sticking out of them. So that's probably a good sign. And I am, you know, I did that intentionally. I tried to get that roll intentionally. If I can get the boy to stumble or roll, that's going to be faster than, you know, the tiny little bunny hops that I'm doing. Honestly, I kind of feel a lot worse about the chicken than I do about the boy. So we've got one angry pig on our hands. I gotta get him to open this door. But after that, we are gonna take Tackled by a Pig, which is the next death that we need. The door was the checkpoint, so that's why we had to get that first, in order to make sure we didn't spend any more time than we actually had to. So poor Mr. Pig has a worm in his butt. I'm gonna take care of that. And now he's calm. He's not angry anymore now that his butt feels a little bit better. So this thingy, right? This is a helmet that lets me control any of the dudes who, like, look like workers, these kind of pale zombie dudes. Anytime I'm wearing one of these helmets, they respond to it and will do the same thing that I do. So we will be using that to solve quite a few puzzles. And now for the first time, we're going to take a look at kind of the world building of this game. We've got this line of people emerging over to the right. They're going to kind of be a common fixture throughout the rest of this run. This constant, like, convoy of people, mindless people. The boy in the red shirt, who we are, you know, playing as, seems to be somehow special. He's not affected by whatever is causing these people to be like zombies. But at the same time, he's not quite like the people who aren't zombies, which are essentially just almost like factory workers. They all wear masks. They often have clipboards or hard hats, that sort of thing. And they seem to be in control of this big ol', you know, line of people. So the boy almost seems to be his own thing. And realistically, I say all deaths as this category, but the people in the masks aren't actually trying to kill the boy. They're trying to capture him. When we got shot earlier, we were shot with tranq darts. When we got tackled or caught by a guard earlier, he tackled me. He didn't, you know, like, hurt me. So it's really sort of unclear what these guys want with this little boy. Hopefully that's just about high enough. This death looks essentially just the same as falling from a great height, but it is very slightly different. It's actually called heart attack from a falling safe. So we had to fall with the safe there. I could take fall from a great height here, but excuse me. I'm not going to. I'm going to do it a little bit later. Where the checkpoint is a little bit better. What was that? He just teleported. So here again, we're going to have another one of these mind control gizmos. I'm going to close the door because these guys aren't quite paced at the right location to both be standing on these buttons. So I have to close the door so that one of them gets stuck on the door for a little while. And then that will space them out just right. Fun fact, on the rooftops coming up, if you miss landing on the roof and you land like between the buildings, you'll actually land in a shopping cart and you will scare the living daylights out of a poor little cat that's down there, and he'll run away like screeching. So there's that line of people again. Personally, I think the shopping cart should be included in this run, but it's basically just a community decision, you know, which animations are special. And that counts as fall from a great height, essentially. It's right here. If you choose to miss and fall in between there, you'll land in the cart. probably be able to hear me jamming on my controller here. This is a lot harder to do on console than it is on PC, because this is a back and forth motion on the joystick as opposed to, you know, just alternately tapping two different keyboard buttons. So it takes a little bit longer, and there is a chance that we're not going to be able to one-cycle some stuff if we can't do it, like, perfectly. But that's not such a big deal. I'm going to take Zapped by a Sentry Light here. I do not want to turn that on now. I don't know what I was thinking. Sometimes you just kind of get so in the habit of taking a death somewhere that either, like, when you're trying to just run any percent of this, or even if you're already running this and you've already taken a death, you'll just take the death again and then be like, what am I doing? I see Morty has found himself a cozy spot to rest for a little while. He's such a poser. He knows how to be, like, popular for the camera. Okay, so we have kind of inadvertently joined the line of zombies down here. And this light is going to be checking me because I'm different, to make sure that I am one of them. So I need to move just like they move, stop when they stop. You can, like, do that and keep inching forward. And if you're trying for super, world record competitive times, you are going to do that little inching. Because up ahead, it is going to matter. You will get yourself out of one cycle of having to do this. But the risk is that you inch too much, and this camera gets angry at you and zaps you, and takes you way back to a faraway checkpoint. We are going to get zapped by the camera, because that's going to be, a separate death. But realistically, for a marathon, it's too much of a risk, so no inching for me. Yeah, if you inch, you won't have to do one of these boxes once, basically. You'll be just barely out of it. But honestly, I'm quite fine with doing the boxes. They're easy. So once we're outside the box, we don't have to do that stuff anymore. But you can see all the people in the background, right? They're all, even the baby is wearing a mask. The kids are wearing masks. And they all seem to be taking notes about how these people, whatever they are behaving, right? So I need to be sure that I trigger a checkpoint, which is going to be past the whiteboard that's in here. There's no indicator of where the checkpoints actually are, it's just, kind of a matter of memorization. And there, I'm gonna take the zapped by a sentry light at that point. Unfortunately, we can't inch here. It's super tempting. But the light will catch us, for sure. And we need to go one more cycle forward. Okay, here we go. I would love to give the lizards a treat, but I don't have any at the moment. I could play a clip of him getting a treat, but Like, actually, I could do that. It's pretty much set up if you want me to play a clip of Morty getting a treat. At, like, the end of the run or something. Yeah, I feel like Morty got a little bit conned right now on my account. Okay, so this is going to be what I would consider the hardest death in the game. You have one chance, or I don't want to say one chance, but one location where you can do this. This is likely to take multiple tries. It is very challenging. We're trying to get crushed by this horizontal door. Yes! Oh, I'm so happy. Second try. That's rare to get that on the second try. So that was crushed by a horizontal door. We're good to go now. I could take Drowned here, but since that went so well, I am not going to take Drowned here. That's a long section to play again. Yeah, I would argue that crushed by a horizontal door is one of two, possibly three, but mostly two, really, really difficult deaths. So it's good to have that done. So yeah, that animation of him kind of being stuck in the door and scrabbling with his hands is not found anywhere else, which is why we have to do it there. And it's a very tight window between the boy actually starting that animation versus just, like, falling through and conking his head on... Okay, can we just acknowledge that that button did the complete opposite of what that button is supposed to do for a hot second? Thank you. The little boy, I tell you what. It's this section that chooses to be a troll today, I see. I get it. I get it. The little boy rebels a little bit to the horrible treatment that I'm putting him through, which is fair. You know. The boy's swim speed, like, in all reality, the boy's swim speed can be altered slightly, and it's actually why we are not going to do one of the later deaths in one particular location, because on console, and to be honest on PC, it's very hard to get the boy to increase his swim speed at a very critical spot. So instead, we will take a death at a different location, even though technically that's the fastest way. And also, there will be a brief... Little boy, thank you. There will be a brief opportunity where we'll have a cutscene later on, and I think that I will just, like, show you Morty getting a treat, because Morty's a good guy. I'll just switch the feed and give him a snacko. Ugh! That was really close. Alright, so now I am going to take zapped by a vertical spotlight. I could take Fall from a Great Height here, but I am not going to. Because we have actually been very fortunate that nothing has really gone wrong, and we haven't already accidentally taken Fallen from a Great Height, so I should be able to do it in the place where you're actually intended to do it. Which will be a change of pace. Okay, so I am gonna try to 2-cycle this if we can get lucky, and if my controller will acknowledge how many times I've done this. Yeah, we should be able to 2-cycle, hopefully. You need to get a little bit of pull on that second board before the dogs catch up with you in order to 2-cycle. This is gonna be close, though. I'm gonna try it. Come on, little boy. Get in there. Risky for the bisky, and the bisky wasn't worth it. It was open, too. Like, he was so close to being able to get it. I was, changing the RNG of the dogs. Like, that death was intentional. I just, you know. Doggos. Guys, I'm gonna need you to chill. I'm gonna need you to relax a little bit. You're not being good doggos, okay? You'd think that after, like, the 5th time I did that, they would be like, wait a second. Alright, so now we will take Fall from a Great Height, which is literally just right here. Rest in peace, kneecaps. I don't know how these guys don't see me. Like, I'm just standing here. From the player's perspective, he's behind a box, but he's literally just standing there. Alright, so my fancy yellow submarine here is gonna take me to places unknown. And by unknown, I just mean down. I'm gonna strategically use the boosting in this sub to break things like this and to make sure I go as fast as possible. Gotta space it out in a very specific way so that you don't just hang around and wait. Do you truly think that a game like this would have an explode the submarine and kill you death? Because you're correct, of course you are. Little boy. Sort yourself out, okay? So we gotta leave the sub for a minute because this door is closed and I don't really have a way to carry it with me. Okay, so right up ahead, we are actually going to have another death. This is going to be crushed by rolling barrels. So our whole goal, don't forget, is to get back to our handsome little submarine and get it to come with us. So we are not just wandering way the heck away from our sub for no reason. We are trying to open up that door. The lever is way up above, so we've got a little bit of work to do to get up there. I like that this is a spooky forest, except it's not actually like a spooky forest. It's a forest, but there's a wall, right? It's an entirely enclosed forest, and I don't know why, but I love it. Like, why would you have an entire forest inside a warehouse? Alright, so that's gonna open the door. Now Mr. Submarine can come with us. And if you saw that, that was kind of what's coming next. That spooky little figure in the front there. We typically just refer to her as the water girl, because she is a creepy girl that's in the water. Creative. Yeah, so every death... Whoa! Every death is unique. You know, for the purposes of the run. It's essentially every unique animation that we can find in the game. But yeah, one high fall is the same as any other. It's all just fall from a great height. And some of them, to be fair, do look pretty similar. But then you have, you know, really unique ones like crushed by a horizontal door and stuff like that. Alright, so we lowered the water so that this door would open so that I could hop right through there. And here she is. Everybody's favorite little creepy underwater who knows what. So I'm gonna go just to make sure I'm at the checkpoint, and this is gonna be depressurized sub as another death. That's the exploding sub that we were all sure existed. But I bet that it didn't explode in the way that you first imagined, huh? So obviously she doesn't like the light. That's how I'm keeping her away. You can technically close that door and come through the door at the same time if you very carefully skim the top of the sub along the bottom of the door. Problem with that is 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work, and then she just catches you. So I'd rather not be caught by that thing any more than I have to be. Wee. So this coming up is essentially the longest continuous section of the game. we're basically gonna have to gather up our boys, gather up all of our friends, and all work together to solve a bunch of problems that lead to opening a giant door. That's basically how this works. Little boy, could you do that? I do have more than one lizard, yes. Morty is just usually the one on stream because Raphaelos is either hiding or has the equivalent of lizard zoomies, and he just will not sit still, so... Whereas Morty, you know, he just falls asleep mid-step. He's great. So we got the number 19 up there. That is how many people need to be on that pressure plate in order for it to open the door. So, I gotta grab my fellows, my bros. And so we've got 4 directions we can go. We can go down, left and right, and all the way up, left and right. And then technically, I guess we have the middle left that we still haven't done, so 5, I guess. Doesn't particularly matter what order you do them in, but for the sake of my own memory, this is the order I'm going to do them in. So we've got a mind control thing up there. That's obviously where we're gonna be trying to go. My fellows are already chilling there, ready to help me out. I like the way that he climbs those rocks. It's like, it's the little things with this game, right? Like, they took the time to actually make him line up with each rock, and like his animations line up with the unique shapes of each rock, and it just really gives it makes it even creepier because it's like more realistic, right? Alright, so we grab this. This one breaks off, so my little bunny hop animation is now different. It's now a lot faster for as long as I'm wearing this helmet. And the next death that we are going for is actually going to be just right up here. I did not make it because the boy tripped on the side of the platform. Pretty common. Usually takes a couple tries to line this up kind of just right. That was very close as well. You can see, right? Sometimes he's like right to the side of it. There we go. That is impaled on a spike. That one gives me the heebs. And it's like a really strong vibration in the controller too when you hit that one as opposed to some of the other deaths. It makes it kind of creepy. That's definitely one of the worst ones for sure. So I've started to gather my little friend group, right? And they are going to help me lift this. I can't lift this by myself, so I needed to get them first before we could do this side. I am going to stick that just right there. Give me a boost, guys. I'm sure you can guess what's going to happen here. So that's crushed by a minecart. I mean, as we get further into the game and things become more complex as far as like the tools and items and scenarios that we find ourselves in, the death animations kind of follow suit in how creative they get. So technically the fastest way to do this is actually to solve this puzzle and then get crushed on the way back. But I prefer to do it this way just because it makes kind of sort of more narrative sense. I don't like to interrupt what's happening with the death if I can help it. For the sake of a marathon, I mean. Obviously, if you actually want competitive times, you should do it the fastest way, but... So I'm gonna be a little bit cheeky, because that's the name of my game. This thing's gonna fly up into the air. This is called a jet box. I'm gonna stop it a little bit with this box so that it doesn't fly quite so high and we don't have to wait so long for it. These jet boxes are gonna become a pretty common fixture of what we have to do in the rest of the run. Come on, my friends. Every single one of them just like rammed their shins into that little ledge. Sorry, guys. Watch where you're walking. So I could have jumped down, you know, and they would have caught me because they're my buds. But again, I wanted to get the roll animation because that's a little bit faster. So we're done with this bottom floor. And next... Is one of my friendlies still down there? Was he just hanging out? Sniffing the roses? And I'm gonna have to go get him later. Mort is actually super long. I don't think it quite is conveyed on camera how big Morty is. Morty is 2 feet long. He's like the distance from my ankles to my hips. Then again, I'm short. He is very large. So yeah, that guy wasn't doing so great. But we really only need him for his body weight because we need to put him on the pressure plate down below, so that's okay. He can keep sleeping. He was sleeping. I'm sure he was just sleeping. Get in here, gents. We have places to be. See, they were just sleeping. So again, you know, I can't open this door without their help. That's why I didn't open this as soon as I fell down. Excuse me. Guys, I love you very much, but can you not? Friends, this is not the time to crowd surf, okay? Who knows how long these poor guys have been stuck in this minecart? Gentlemen, Where do you think you're going? Where do you think you're going? They're supposed to kind of get stuck a little bit, and then it'll, like, auto hook them onto the track. For some reason, it didn't work, which I've actually never had happen. Gents, I'm gonna need ya, please. Guys, I've never had this happen. Yeah, marathon luck. I mean, that's how it goes, right? Alright, gentlemen. Start your engines. Your engines are too fast, guys. Cool down the engines. There's a very specific point when they go through this this little loop here that you take them up, and boy, they are revving and ready to go. Alright, guys. This time. You got it. You got it, folks. Get up there, for Pete's sake. Of all the places where I thought that this run would get hung up, yeah, that was not even on the radar. But we have all of our friends. Like, just look at all of them shambling along. This is like a Saturday night 3 a.m. frat party. When somebody said, hey, I brought pizza. Alright, guys. Everybody on the thingy, except for this guy, who's totally sleeping. And there we go. Doors unlocked. Sorry, I knocked that guy over. This is my favorite section of the game, by far. That big shockwave just knocked the electrical thing off of my head. I'm actually gonna wait. If you tumble there, you're not gonna make it past. So. Oh god, this is close. I love the sound design and just the visuals of this section. Help? Nope, okay. So that was, I don't want to say intentional, but fine. Basically, you do this section to the best of your ability, and then, you know, if you fail, you take blasted by a shockwave, essentially. So either way, it's kind of a win-win. Because, am I gonna make it to the top? Oh, help. You know, worst case scenario, you still get the death and you don't have to do it later. Best case scenario, you make it through this section. So. That was fine either way, you know? Because otherwise I would have just taken shockwave death here. And actually, shockwave here makes this section a smidge harder. So, please go. Super tight timing on this section. Hopefully it works out just fine. That's real early. We shall see. Oh, there's no way. Yeah, there was no way. That's fine. Smacked by the door. Everything has to be just so perfectly in sync for you to make it across here, so... I'm gonna make sure that we make it this time, since we're good on the shockwave death. And you can see it was still just like barely that we made it. Really? I was behind that, you liar. I love this section so much. I am not going to begrudge myself having to do it again. And it's not going to let me. Wow. We are being cruel today. It's cool. Boink. Okay. Thank you for giving me credit for what should have happened 3 times ago. Just kidding. So we're cool. We're through the...
quite a shocking area.
it sounds like so cool. I love it a lot.
It does. Do you mind if I just make a quick announcement?
You bet.
Or, yeah. So remember guys, this is a awesome charity run for Child's Play. Definitely want to make sure that you guys get a look at everything that's going on with it. We have met all our incentives, but that doesn't mean that you still can't support a great cause. So feel free, exclamation point, donate. Definitely take a look, get those donations in. And yeah, every little bit helps. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Oh, this part freaks me out. I don't like it. So now that we have seen, you know, blasted by a shockwave multiple times, we are going to be going for crushed by a vertical door, which is, you know, same principle as crushed by a horizontal door. Much easier to get. I shouldn't count my chickens before they hatch, because, you know, there you go. We're through the door. But... yeah, needless to say, I didn't want to be through the door, but it happens. There's more than one place to get crushed by a vertical door, so... I'll get it later. I told you, don't count your chickens before they hatch. This is just crushed by falling on a jet box. I'm not entirely sure how that's different from fall from a great height, but the community has agreed that it is, and so it's a death. That's right, don't count your chickens before you vacuum them into a piece of farm equipment and shoot them in a hay bale. Oh look, it's our friend again. Yeah, she's not just chilling. She's like totally after me. So I'm gonna get a real good swing going here before I let go of this rope. And I'm actually gonna just hop like that. That will trigger the checkpoint. And then I will meet my watery doom. That's drowned by the water girl. And so now we're checkpointed up here. That's why I did that little hop before I jumped down. So she's hanging out back there, and I promise you that is not good enough. So we're gonna have to trick her a little bit, because she is a fast swimmer. In order to do that, I am gonna climb up here, get this to go to the left, and then just barely dangle my little tippy toes in the water, and that's gonna get her attention to go a little further back than she had previously followed me. Oh god, that was close. She's so scary. So now she's a little further back. That's going to give me just enough time, essentially, to go through here. Alright, onwards and upwards. We're out of the water. We don't have to worry about creepy little water girl. And now we're back in the water. Of course. So she's spooky, as always. This is one of the sections I was talking about earlier, where it's a little bit easier on PC, and even then still very difficult. But you can one-cycle this. The way that you would one-cycle this is when you hop down in the water like that, you get a small boost of momentum. You hit this button, somehow go up, go back down, hit it again, and get underneath that door before she catches you. It's really hard. So we are absolutely not going to do that for a marathon, because that you have to play this entire section again if you fail. So nope, you know. We are just going to solve this the intended way, which only takes like 20 seconds more. And is much, much safer. So because we haven't taken it yet, I am actually going to take drowned here. Just regular drowned instead of drowned by the water girl. I want to be past this box and just kind of doing a little shimmy sham forward. So the death from the door being underwater, like the being underwater part doesn't matter. It's the boy's animation that matters, and he does the same animation whether it's underwater or not, which is why it's not separate. That does make sense though. So while this is happening, I am actually, like, legit gonna pull up a different video of, like, a different video feed of Morty so that I can use a video of him getting a snack. Just a second. So in the meantime, right, the water girl has plugged in a thingy into my chest, and now she's just gone. Like, she's like, yeah, okay, that's really all I wanted to do, and now she left us alone. So there you go. Morty got some snacks. In the meantime, now we can just swim underwater. We can breathe underwater. And that's why we don't count that as drowned by the water girl, because we don't actually drown. So at this point, any water-related deaths, like drowning, are done. Like, you can't do them anymore because you can't drown anymore. Check out this window in the back, by the way, the one that says number 3 on it. I just really like that spooky guy coming forward. You may already be able to guess what's coming up here. Possibly. I've never had this happen. There we go. The door got stuck. It, like, just completely stopped. This run is, like, cursed, and I love it. Let me in, you swirly door. I'm trying to position myself very, very carefully. There we go. So that is cut by a circular door. And of course, you know, we've got these turbines going. You can see where this is going to end up. He is a blue-tongued skink, yes. He is from Australia, and he has a bright blue tongue. In fact, that blue tongue is kind of why his real name is Artorias, because his tongue is the same color as the cloak that Artorias wears. So I didn't forget about the turbines. Like, we are going to need to go and deal with the turbines. But there's a checkpoint up here that will prevent us from having to do the whole circular door thing again. So it's faster to just hop up here real quick. So there is chopped by a turbine. But yeah, Morty is a blue-tongued skink. I guess their tongues are blue so they don't get sunburnt, just like giraffes, but he is why literally everything on my channel is a lizard. A blue-tongue lizard. Alright, I'm gonna try to one-cycle this. It usually doesn't go very well, but it's super tight timing, and spinning these things on a console is harder than spinning them on a PC. Because of what buttons are, you know, intended to do that, and how the joystick works. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna try, because we're super close. Obviously, you know, I could have tried to beat the light and go up the ladder. Or I can just wait like 3 seconds and then be sure that I'm safe, so we're gonna do that. The next death is essentially the other one that I was talking about earlier when we did Crushed by a Horizontal Door. That is one of the absolute hardest deaths in the game. To me, personally, it's a little bit easier than Horizontal Door, but the basic way that this game works, right, is it's a side-scroller. So you exist on one plane of depth as the player, and other stuff exists either in front of or behind you, right? The problem is that these jet boxes exist behind the boy in like the z-axis, the depth dimension. And I need this to land on my head. You can see right now the boy is standing in front of it, but he can briefly be on top of it. He can be in the same depth as the jet box, and so I need to actually trick the game into letting me go deeper into the screen so that the box can land on my head, and that is what proves to be challenging. And in order to do that, thankfully, and the reason that we do it here and not somewhere else, is because there's another jet box like right next to it, and that's actually going to help me, you know, trick the game. So we have the first jet box here, kind of embedded in the ground. I am going to drag this one next to the other one, get this one to go, and then hold on to this one so that it pushes me further back into the world. I'll hop over and then hop up, and that hop up is meant to prevent me from going forward again. But the game desperately wants you to be, you know, forward. So it usually takes a couple tries to just really get... I'm sorry, what? You saw me hit the one on the right, did you not? It usually takes a couple tries to get the game to let me be essentially in a place that I'm not supposed to be, right? So we'll give it a couple goes. And it's like the weirdest thing, right? There we go. It's the weirdest thing that would even be a death when they don't expect you to do that. But here we are. That was crushed by a falling jet box. That is one of the last deaths in the game. We still have a couple more. I like this sound effect a lot. I think they did a really great job specifically with that one. I just really like it. But we are fast approaching the end. I have received super special permission to play all the way to the end as long as we're still looking okay schedule-wise. Because timing actually stops like way before the end of the game. And by way before, I mean like, you know, 10 minutes or something. Personally, I think the end of the game is quite worth seeing. Things, as they are now, are really tame compared to, you know, what we're gonna see at the end, so... get hyped about that. Here's more of our zombie friends, who are, you know, being shipped off to some undisclosed location. I'm sure they'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I mean, hopefully. And yes, we did receive confirmation. We're ahead of schedule, so feel free to finish the game.
Sweet. So Morty is literally just wearing sunglasses around his neck. Like a cool guy. This puzzle took me a long time as, like, a first-time player. Like, I swear I was here for, like, 45 minutes. And there's only, like, 2 or 3 permutations of how you could do this. And I still just... boy, I could not wrap my mind around it. So I needed to go get that box so that I could drop the box up on top of this platform so that I could stand on the box and get up into the water before that door on the right closes. Like, if the water gets too low, the door will close. So I needed a little bit of extra height to get over here. That's like the entire puzzle. So we essentially have one death left. And I am gonna need some of my best buds in order to do it. So we gotta stop them from being trapped in this weird vertical water dimension. Alright, so they're heading out. They're not gonna notice me anymore. I'll get my friends down. Splap. I'm sure they're fine. Come on, guys. I mean, this poor guy, he's not doing so great. But you know what? He's given it his best, and that's really all the more I can ask for him. A for effort, buddy. Okay. So door's open. I've got my gentle souls following me. Gonna pick up a couple more. Mr. Janitor Man, come on. What I'm doing is way more interesting than what you're doing. And this is gonna be the final death. This is not where timing stops, it's just the final death. And that is, unfortunately, it's called Thrown by Freaks. But they're my friends. They're not freaks. So I prefer to call it Thrown by My Lovelies. Alright, so they're gonna help me up here. And we are now very close to the end of the game. Just a couple more minutes, plus, you know, seeing the actual ending. The fact that there's blood going into this elevator is probably fine. I mean... Come on, fellows. I don't actually need all of you, but I value every one of you. Yeah, like for real though, we don't need all of them, so I'm not gonna wait for them. You snooze, you lose, fellows. So I need their help to open this door. And then this door is essentially going to lead to the far side of this giant warehouse, who knows what, that has literally been like miles long, that we've been inside this entire game. And you can see these people in the background running. For the first time, they don't care about me as the boy, right? Like normally our entire existence has been centered around don't get caught by the adults or don't get caught by the people in masks. And now they just don't care. Like something else has grabbed their attention and they could not care less about the boy at this point. There's a cigarette there that hasn't been put out. The phone over here is like hanging off the cord like somebody ran real quick, like it was an emergency. And actually, up in here, not Miss Dainty Legs there, but the next one over, this one on the right, has some pieces of paper coming out of it with dots and dashes. You know, Morse code. It does actually say something. And, you know, the community spent a long time figuring out what it said. And it led them to a website created by Playdead that had, like, you know, super secret information on it and stuff. And there was this whole giant, like, goose chase trying to figure out what was up with the papers coming out of that fax machine. Gonna get that little stumble there just to go a little bit faster. And everybody is coming in and looking at... Well, they're looking down into basically a giant orb. We're gonna see the orb here in just a second, like from the side. But that's what everybody was rushing over to look at. Well, you know, he didn't grab, so we just kind of went kersplat. It's cool. We'll just take an extra fall from a great height. That was actually a pretty decent checkpoint. I wonder if it's worth it to just take it there anyway. That was a really good checkpoint. So this is the side of the orb that they, you know, are looking at from up above. Now there is technically an opportunity here for cut by a circular door if you didn't get it earlier. But this is essentially the only death in the game where you genuinely do just have one chance. You can't redo it, you're not allowed to load saves, and once you go through you can't come back. So that's why basically nobody takes cut by a circular door here. Way too risky. Alright, so I'm turning the fan off just so that, you know, it's not blowing me up away from it. Just long enough to grab this, and then you'll see the circular door I was talking about. And up we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. The blob. It is a people blob. Have you ever felt the need to see a people blob? Because boy, have I got the game for you. So I just got sucked into the people blob. And I am the people blob, in fact. So we will play the rest of the game as Blob Man. Welcome your new overlord. It is kind of honestly the best part of the game. Like, it's kind of unclear if it is a death or if the boy is, like, just kicking around in there somewhere, you know? And this is my obligatory time to remark that I think that they missed a wonderful opportunity to turn this guy into a stress ball. I would buy it. I would squeeze it. Right? Wouldn't he make a good little stress ball? Or I get the feeling a couple of those guys there kind of also just got incorporated into my blobbiness. We need all of my brethren to help me this time, because I am thick with like 6 C's. And we are actually gonna come in like really close to estimate. So I guess good to know that my estimate wasn't that far off, especially considering that the game just kind of toyed with us for a little while at some spots. But we're gonna see it through to the end anyway. So timing is coming up here. We are gonna keep going after time, but time itself is called here in just a couple, so we want to get ready for that. This this is the CEO of whatever the heck is going on here. Once we smoosh him, it will be time now. So that's the end of the speed run, but we are gonna go, you know, all the way to the end, as long as that is still acceptable. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, go for it.
Let the reign of the blob men commence. Nope. There you go. Unsurprisingly, Blob Man is not the easiest to control. Alright, I gotta drop that there. Rush over here before this thing gets away from me. So there is actually a guy in the corner over here. Oh, it seems I've lost some limbs. There's a guy over there, and he's like super terrified, and I suppose rightly so. So he's gonna punch in this number, but if I get too close, you can see like he's looking back at me and being like, oh god. So if I get too close, he won't do it for me, which is why I went and hid in the corner. Thank you, friend. Schlorp. I've lost more limbs, and I don't seem to care. So I've got my little boxy here. My boxy is going to help me solve some problems. First of all, it's going to help me open this up to open the door. And next, I need to catch Boxy on fire because... Boxy, could you get out of the way, buddy? Thank you. Because there's a highly flammable valve close to where I was earlier, and it is what is locking the emergency exits out of this building. Thankfully, I have 600 arms, or that thing would have gone straight in the water. So I'm gonna turn on the emergency exits, get the doors to open, by virtue of literally exploding the inside of this building. A blob on a rampage. So that got the emergency doors to open. And now I am basically just trying to get my blobby self out of this place as fast as possible. You can actually see, like, all through the background, everything is on fire now inside those valves, so I kind of think I messed up their whole operation, but to be fair, whatever the heck is going on in here, probably don't want it to keep going. Help? I'm too short. There we go. Somehow that was not enough. You can see this huge mass of guys in the background running forward to be like, oh, we have to stop the blob. Like, imagine if you got incorporated into the blob and you ended up, like, directly next to the one person that you just always hated from high school, and you're like, oh, really? So I can't turn this on by myself despite my 600 arms, so I'm gonna toss it up to this guy. And be like, hey, can you turn this on for me? And for some reason, he's like, yup. So that's why it's not really clear what on earth is happening here, because they're helping the blob, right? You would think that they would just want it gone, and yet here they are helping it. But like here, they're teasing it. I can't actually grab this thing. So what is the purpose of the blob? You know, are they afraid of it? Are they in awe of it? Did they create it? Who knows? I certainly don't, and I like it. Like, it could just be that they are trying their best to just get it the heck out. Or it could be, because they've had clipboards and stuff, like they're studying what's happening the entire time. So it could just be that they're like, oh, finally, the result of all of our experiments, we get to see the blob in action or something. Hey, leggy on the front, you are doing literally nothing. Pull your weight, dude. So if this were any percent, timing would actually be stopped, up here. In just a second. So any percent actually goes, a little bit further than all deaths does. Any percent would end right here. And so this is the end of the game. We have reached the end. It does take quite a while for the credits to play, but, this is the end. We are the blob. We have burst out of whatever facility we have been kept in. And right before we can reach the ocean, we just kind of come to a stop here, and I'm hitting a bunch of buttons and I can't move anymore. So, did the blob make it to where he wanted to be? Was he 2 inches away from freedom before he couldn't go anymore? I don't know. But that was inside all deaths and kind of technically any percent. So, thanks for having me. Don't forget to donate. Supporting a great charity. Even though all incentives have already been met, so I can't say that there's upcoming incentives, but that doesn't mean that the donations don't matter. So keep them coming. Thanks for having me. Hope you enjoyed.
All right, thank you so much for that really interesting run, to be honest. I know I had a ton of fun watching it. So yeah, that was Sable Dragon Brook with Insight. Feel free to go give her a follow. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more creepy, spooky runs like that in the future. Up next is going to be Flynn Lives with Resident Evil. So we're just gonna take a couple minutes, get everything prepped and ready for you guys to go. Don't forget that we are still having that donations open for Child's Play, helping out with, getting games and toys to children who really need it right now. Donating those to the Children's Hospital. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. See you soon.
Thank